Hopefully we're back. I'm not too sure.
Looks good. Yeah, I've got us up.
Yeah, well, the voice seems to be going up. Anyone watching, can you put something in some form of chat form that we're actually on?
Doritos in chat, preferably.
Doritos.
Doritos has just become the thing.
Yeah, it has become the thing. Ugh, I'm probably sounding really quiet.
We've got Yeah, You're On, but we don't have Doritos. So
Okay.
I don't know if Big Smoky D's just pulling our legs or what's going on.
More than likely. So, hey guys, welcome back to the Technical Difficulties podcast. I'm one of your hosts, Blakey Nation.
And I'm Jacob Smith.
I definitely fucked up my own last name. Wow.
You sure did.
That's a difficulty.
We got Bigfoots in chat.
We
Still haven't got
don't
me.
have just big foots, we have big toots.
Ooh, it's Big Toots.
Big toots.
Gotcha.
Alrighty. So, last week, we kind of just cut out. And then I
We
said,
100% did.
yeah, I just said, screw it. You know, I'm not jumping back in on this.
I mean, it also cut out because your computer was full, so we couldn't really
Yeah.
have it start saving again.
Yeah, apparently I'm just really bad at like storage management. So I got someone over to kind of help me with that, and now it's fixed, so it's fine.
We'll hopefully fix. We'll see if we cut out again.
Yeah, exactly.
If we do, it's all Blake's fault.
And yeah, so welcome back again. Hopefully everything's fine. It's like as the title of this episode says, hopefully we're live.
Look, I know I said it during the Friday group, but if whoever it was that we were speaking to, Captain something, I can't remember your last name, is on, we didn't cut on you. It cut on us. We were going to reply, I swear.
I love the timing of it when it actually
It was
cut
so funny. Like, no offense, but it was so funny.
out. It just said, if you want
oh, you're looking for a D&D group.
and oh my
Good times.
Yeah. So, if you want to know, again, in this podcast, it's a lot different from the last one we used to do. The last one was a bit formatted to pretty much we could just do it as a YouTube video. So in this podcast now, what we do is we just talk about a random comment that comes up. Thank you for the Doritos in chat.
Finally.
Yeah.
So all of that was just cut out.
So this, so the way we do it is we don't pre-plan this. You know, we have ideas running through our heads and what we want to talk about. But we don't talk about it beforehand. And the way we literally decided about 20 minutes before this is we flip a coin. Whoever wins the flip actually gets to bring up the conversation.
So I have no idea what's going on still.
Because I won flip.
I'm pretty sure Smokey D might know what it is.
He knows I won. He didn't know what the conversation was.
I just assumed we were talking beforehand.
No, I wasn't.
Okay.
So, how you going, man? You going?
I'm on top of the world.
That's what I want to hear. That's what you said last week. So I'm
It
glad
is.
we're still continuing on.
It's always my answer.
Yeah. Well, today I want to talk about a very interesting topic, and I've had this one on my mind for a little bit, and I thought this would be a good one.
Okay.
How do you come up with a D&D story to start the games?
All right.
Because for those who don't know, last week we touched on it a little bit, that I've been DMing games for a long time now, actually. Now I think about it, it's been 4 to 5 years. Jacob over here has sort of
run maybe 6 sessions. It's not been a lot.
Yeah, so this is a great experience because I've talked about how I prepare for games. I don't. I get a rough idea and then we run, but there are a lot of people who like to prep a lot.
I think I'm going to be a prepper once we start getting more into being able to run some one-shots and having, I want to try running some games. I know that Arthur wants to give DMing a shot.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to turn into a prepper by the time I actually start running it.
Because of how long it's taking. But
but considering how it went last time, and I just kind of fell really flat. I feel like if I don't have something in front of me to, almost like flashcards.
Yeah.
If I don't have a flashcard in front of me that I can just kind of go there and just run, like even if it's just a couple words, I think I'm just gonna not have the flow that I need.
Yeah, I understand that. Well, I am definitely not a prepper. I've tried once to prep, and man, did that fail. That failed so hard. So I said, you know what? Screw this. The players make a better story anyway. They know what they want. So,
I 100% agree with that. I think the players have to make the story, but I can't just let you go, all right, we're doing this now. I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm meant to know my world, but I don't.
yeah, I do the beauty of I have certain things that I understand what's in the world, but I just make up the world when you're
Yeah.
traveling.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever comes to my head then is canon,
Yeah.
and I've got to remember what I said last session, and I'm running two different games.
I'm glad that it's not just me, because you did that to me when we were playing that game. You're like, yeah, cool, we're just going that way. I'm like, what's that way? I ended up ending a session, and I was just kind of looking at the makeshift map that I made for myself to try and give it a go.
Yeah.
And I started you off in one spot down towards the bottom of the map. And you're just like, yeah, we're going to go south. I'm like, of course you're going to go to where I've just cut the map. So actually, I actually think I came up with a pretty cool idea. I made what was calling the dungeon. It was just ever changing. You never went back to it.
No.
It was going to change every time you
that.
went there.
Screw that.
Yeah.
We were done. We almost died, and we're like, yeah, no.
No, but that was the beauty of it. With that dungeon, death meant you got reset back to the start and got no experience.
Yeah. Well, no one thought of that.
I know. It was meant to come up when you were trying to take rests in the dungeon.
Yeah.
Because the whole point of a dungeon is that it's always dangerous, right?
Yeah.
So I was waiting for it. I was waiting for you to go, nah, screw it, we're taking a rest anyway. And I was gonna drop I was literally just gonna drop an ooze.
Yeah.
And just have it come through and vacuum you up. And you're like, yeah, cool. So you all died in the dungeon.
Well, the thing
You're
was
playing at the start of the dungeon.
I think there was one point where I was the only person left.
That's the only reason I did it the way I did, and I reset everyone else back to the start and
and I'm
split
like,
the party. I was
yeah,
like,
and I was
screw you
like-
all.
Yeah, and I was like, I've got this, I'm fine. And then I got to a point where I had to travel all the way back to the start, and I'm like,
shit.
what's going on? Like, what's going on? I have no idea. So
I had a lot of fun with that, with
Yeah.
in the dungeon part. So
yeah, well, so let's start with world building.
yes,
Okay. So we'll start with you actually and how you decide to world build when this isn't based off any modules. This is just based off your own stuff.
yeah. All right. So I've not ever actually read any modules. I don't own any, and I don't go online looking for them.
So I've read modules.
Yes.
I play card games, like not just like poker. I play Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh! I dabbled in Vanguard. I didn't dabble in Dragon Ball Super. I went really into
We went
Dragon Ball Super.
hard in
Yeah,
Dragon Ball
we did.
Super.
We traveled a lot for that, and one of our players, Jordan, wants me to play a game called Flesh of Blood. I said I have too many games I'm currently playing.
That was my answer.
Yeah. But the thing about reading a module, those games have something called complicated text. These modules sure are more complicated for me to read, and I just don't know why. I'm not saying they're poorly written. I'm just saying I cannot read
You
them.
just
and
can't get
understand.
through it.
I just can't read it and understand where I start,
Okay.
or even how any of this goes off. I remember trying to read Curse of Strahd once, and I'm like,
I've heard that's a big one though.
yeah, but I
Like-
was just
like a big
trying,
module
Yeah,
as
but I was
well.
just
It's not
trying to
like-
read where it started.
Yeah.
And the first thing it talks about is tarot cards, and I'm like, I want to read a paragraph where it goes,
I
"Your
want to know where we're
adventurers-
starting.
Yeah, your adventurers start in this little town of Ravenloft, and it's like, sweet,
Yeah.
start in Ravenloft. Could not find that.
Couldn't find it anywhere. I think from what I've heard watching people online talking about modules, is it's kind of written like a choose your own adventure module book, where it'll be okay. All of the parts that are in this area are all just kind of grouped together. It's not a step-by-step thing. So it's if you end up starting in Ravenloft, but then if you go, yeah, fuck Ravenloft, we're going over here, you can just skip over to the other part of the book.
Yeah,
That's what it makes it seem like, but I've never actually looked one up. I've been meaning to, just so I can kind of get an idea of how they're written
well, the hardest
professionally.
thing that I find about modules is the fact that when it comes up to like that, One's if they do something that the book wasn't prepared for.
Yes. I think I would like that about modules though.
Yeah.
I think
you just like it.
I think there's a way to run a module that allows you to just go, right, we all know that they're going to go off the rails. We're not just going to bring them back into the spot that they're meant to be because this is what the book says. That's when you make world open world.
I believe there should always be an A plot, a B plot, and a fuck me plot.
Yeah.
That's what it should be.
Yeah.
And at least there they give you like, oh, if they didn't do this, they did this. But if your party completely goes on rails and doesn't want to do it, throw this.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't know if they do that. I don't
think they do a throw this thing at them. I think that's just when you as a DM just have to go, all right, what's going to be over there?
I'm pretty sure in the Curse of Strahd one anyway, they have like this mist that either starts to kill you when you start to walk in it.
Oh, it's
and it literally boxes you in.
Just boxing you in and okay.
Yeah, so I think that's like its thing. But
that's its way of railroading you.
Yeah.
No, you can't get through here.
Yeah.
You got to go back.
I'm pretty sure players would just
It's playing a video game.
Yeah, literally.
It's playing a video game where they don't have the invisible walls come up. No, there's games where it's like that.
Oh,
it's
like Thieves. The Blood Sea. The moment you start going off the map.
I've never been to the Blood Sea.
Yeah. So the moment you start going off the map, your boat starts getting messed up and you die.
Think Assassin's Creed. When you go into a place that you can't explore yet, you just start losing health.
Yeah.
And then it goes, desynchronized. You don't have this place yet. It's like,
yeah.
But you clearly coded it.
Yeah. But yeah, so how would you start? What is the first thing you do when you think of making a game?
When I built the first one, I kind of tried to take things that I'd seen you do before, just as a jumping off point. I had no idea where to start. Yeah. So I went on Incarnate, which you use for map building, and I just kind of
I've got to show you the new one.
I just kind of hit generate a few times until I was like, that one looks cool, and then just added a piece here and there.
I've got to show you my new one that I do for cities.
Yep.
It's so useful.
I saw the printout.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I haven't printed it out, but I have I showed you.
Oh, you showed me on the phone, did you? Okay.
Yeah. I got to show you that.
But yeah, that's what I did. I jumped on Incarnate and I just kind of hit generate until I found something, and then just kind of tried to think about what made sense to be within this topology, I guess.
Yeah.
And I tried to build a world. And I think in trying to place things in an existing map world, I kind of made it harder for myself.
Yeah.
I think
it's like if I said, here, this is my world, you play something, you play a campaign in it. It's so hard for you to play a game in my world because it's my world.
Yeah.
I know everything in here.
Yeah.
The moment you add something and you go, I've been here before, but I've never been here. Yeah. And I don't know the rules of the world.
Yeah.
It
kind of feels like that, even though I didn't take it from anywhere else.
Yeah.
It looked like that to me. And so and I don't think I ran it very well because of that. And I think the next one that I do, I'm not going to make it an open world. I'm going to make it more of like a cityscape.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try and base it within the city walls. There'll be a way for you to go outside the city walls, but it won't be so much that you're going to travel to another, like the next town over.
Yeah. Well, I'm actually going to use an example for you. I'll say one word and you'll understand it, and you guys won't. So then I will explain it. I'll say it. But you want your Valak.
Yes. Literally.
So Valak is an island. It's a massive island that had five city/towns on it. And its main town where they started was Volin.
This is within the world that we're playing our campaigns in right now. It's just a different island.
So Volin was the main city they started in, and I added something into D&D, which I quite think it should be in everywhere because I got it off the Fallout games, which is reputation. And if a city starts to like you, start to do more and more, you started getting discounts. They started letting you sleep in the taverns for free because you've done so much for them. And you guys did that. You did not leave Valak for so long.
Yeah. If we left Volin specifically, we were doing like a day trip out to do a quest and coming back to Volta.
Yeah, it was there.
If we went across the island, we were back within 2 days.
Yeah,
like
just
every
do
time.
that.
We didn't leave that one city. That literally became our hub, and it became
your home.
all of our homes.
You
Like,
ended up like it ended. Yeah, it was 100% your home.
yeah.
And in doing that as well, like, yeah, you had 2 guards that were always picking on you, but you knew it was never getting worse than that.
Yeah.
And you guys were always caught doing sketchy stuff.
We were also getting a lot stronger than the guards, and so we just ended up laughing at them at one point.
And you became
never
very
went
good
back.
friends with the head guard,
Yep.
with the bartender, with the blacksmith,
Yes.
and all that stuff in Volin. And that's why it made it so difficult to watch the day Volin got destroyed.
Yeah.
Because they stayed there too long. And it wasn't... So I'm going to be real with you. I didn't destroy it.
You didn't
because
do
you
it
were
on...
there. It was a lot of random.
happenstance. It really was.
It was because I have a rule in my game, which I took off my last DM, which he made the 666 rule. If you roll percentile and you roll 2 6s, the person who rolled that percentile nominates a player on the table that isn't the DM to roll a d6. If they roll a 6, it's 666. It's going to summon a demon or a devil, whichever one.
Mm-hmm.
So
just
you
whatever
roll,
ends up being.
so once
relevant
that
at the
6
time.
is rolled, you get someone else to roll a d8 off a chart that you've made of what it's going to be. Mine was 8. 8 was the hardest thing I could throw at them without completely, utterly, they literally have no chance type thing. You do have a chance to run or whatever, but if it was 8, it was like 0.
This, by the way, is literally if you roll percentile for any reason at all.
Yeah.
If you roll double 6, it starts the...
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. If you roll 66, it starts the thing.
Yeah. So
Any reason at all.
so that day they rolled percentile. They got double 6 and then an extra 6. So you had the luck blade at the time and used a wish to avoid that.
Yes. I literally turned back time by about 10 minutes.
It was 10 minutes, and you explained to everyone, and then you went a different direction.
And I was like, we can't come down here. Like, there's something here that we need to avoid. I just need you to trust me.
Yeah. So
And they did. And we went around, and
then
we had
made
like, smoke in the distance. And it was like, okay, this thing still happened, kind of a thing.
And then later on in that session, they rolled double 6 again. And then they rolled another 6.
And then
then they rolled an 8.
another 8.
And I looked at them and I said, this is happening.
This was meant to be.
Yeah. So it came at a funny point. They were having so much fun at when it was happening. Like,
We'd stuff someone in a barrel.
yeah,
and
you
we're
stuff
rolling
bang
them
into
down a
barrel.
hill.
Yeah.
And
After
down
Sol-
towards the harbor, like dangerous stuff at any low level.
Yeah. And this was after
characters.
Sol got given a pistol and they were gonna have a Mexican standoff. Instead, he threw the pistol at him in the head because he didn't know how to use it.
Yeah.
And it was quite funny, all that stuff. But then it happened, and you guys saw the Balor pop out and start destroying the city. And the only thing any of you could think of was Kat throwing down the castle, making it rise, and you guys getting in it, and just waiting it out. You couldn't do a thing because
it was too powerful for us.
And
At
you
that
knew
point, it just straight up was.
Yeah. So that's when Volin was destroyed. So they lost their hometown.
It was actually heartbreaking.
Yeah. You're always sad because it was literally destroyed.
It was.
So my point there is, though, because we did get a tiny bit sidetracked with why I destroyed it. Valak was an island that I put in 5 places plus little other places they could do, and they stayed there. And so I made a lot of the early start stories happen there. It's what you called the starter island thing.
Yeah.
That you were talking, but I made sure it wasn't a town.
Yeah.
It was an island.
Yeah.
It was massive. And I think that's why it worked,
Yeah.
because I made them, but I never actually knew what I was fully throwing in until you kind of got to it. The only time I did kind of know is when I set up 5 different storylines. And if you understand the storylines, there were 5 different towns.
Yeah.
So they were 5 different stories. So whichever one you decided to pursue.
Yeah.
And so yeah, and you could always go 1, 2, 3, 4, depending on if you didn't want to do it, then you can go off and do another one and all that stuff. But here's a little secret you didn't know.
Yeah.
None of the players know this. Remember how I said I made 9 maps? I didn't.
Didn't you?
No. I had an idea for 9 maps. But I didn't know how far you're traveling because the way the campaign was looking, and which it did turn into, was a pirate campaign where they were always on the sea. And you guys were always on the sea. After Volin was destroyed.
After Volin was
you were always
destroyed,
on the sea. And so I didn't make them, but I knew they existed. And I always had them in my head, like Fahrenheit and all that stuff.
I want to let you all know as well. He told us that he was mad at us for never leaving as well because he had these other maps. So he lied to us. He lied to our face.
No, I had them in my head, but I just never got to play
you
with
said
them.
they were physical maps.
Yeah. I did. Yeah, I did. Not
Lied to our faces.
I did. But the reason why was because it was hype.
Yeah.
I always wanted you guys to understand and know that there was a different area. It wasn't until I actually implemented the second group that I actually physically created that second map.
The second map.
And then once the Friday group started playing for the first time at the backyard of our friend's house, I made that second map. And if you notice it's so much thinner.
Yes.
And that's because I didn't rush it, but I knew what they were going to be doing, kind of the areas that they were going to be looking after at first. So,
and that was just their start, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that was because I knew how the campaign was rolling. That's why I enjoy the way I do it, is because I understand the type of game you guys want when you start playing.
Okay. Yeah.
That
makes sense.
The only reason in this game it's a lot different is because of the fact that it's an existing world that I've built already.
Yeah.
You'll go to some places and I won't actually know all the little places. I'll just know the one big city.
Yeah.
And then when you finally reach that island, that's when I worry about it.
Yeah.
When I hear or set up a quest for there, that's when I'll start to worry about it. Because I don't want to overthink. Yeah. I don't want to get the stuff mixed up. I just want it to be fun for the time being.
Yeah.
And then when you start to go there, that's when I'll start to worry about it. And generally I make it fine because I make everything up as I go.
Yeah.
The only things I have started to pre-prep are the actual cities.
Okay.
The maps of the cities. So I get them 100% clear cut.
100% thing, I'm never doing city maps. Because what always seems so daunting to me is trying to place everything in the city and placing it properly. I'm like, no, I'm just not doing it. If you ask me if there's a place, I'm going to make a snap decision, yes or no. I'm going to go, yeah, it's just down the road there. You're
going to love this thing I've done for you. Because it's, on my end, it's not daunting. On my end, I'm lazy. I think Smokey D said something. What's he talking about?
We're jamming. What are your thoughts on killing PCs?
Player characters as a
yes,
like as a DM killing PCs.
Yes.
Okay. I've done this a lot. I think this is a question for me.
I'll let you go. I have thoughts on it.
You have thoughts as well? Okay. Man, I wanted to kill all of you.
You wanted to kill us all and we wouldn't leave Volin.
No, okay. So my real thought about it is that when a player has actually been playing a character properly, when they die, you get a real reaction.
Yes.
And it sucks as a DM to watch that because this is a story you make. So you're literally watching theater. You're the guy who wrote the screenplay who's sitting in the front seat and he's got a fucking No. So killing player characters. Okay. The first player character I ever lost, man, if he's watching, he knows who I'm talking about because I killed him. I saw an opportunity where I could push the story forward, make this bad guy, and even like it went from you are the bad guy to now this is personal. And I knew that could come up. And I wanted it to come up. I wanted to progress other characters who weren't progressing. But I knew this was going to be a tough one. Because this was all because one of the characters made a really bad decision. But in their defense, I say gender, but in their defense, one of the other player characters decided to take a nap at the worst time ever.
Yeah.
Because you guys were on an island by yourselves. You have no idea what's going on. The party got split. So that happened. You rolled poorly, unfortunately, and then that involved you guys getting captured. So when it comes to this, I killed him. Don't get mad at me. I killed you. I cut your head off, mate. But was there regret? Yeah, it was 100% regret because I just had no idea what this was going to do to the person that I killed. I knew out of everyone he would take it the easiest, but he was still mad. He was very mad. And it was to push plot development. And in the end, it did. It pushed plot development for the fact that the person who split the party felt guilt.
Yeah.
And never got stopped. No one ever stopped reminding them on the bad decision they made that killed literally all the starting members.
Yep.
Except for herself.
Yep.
That whole plot line killed every single one.
Everyone.
So I killed him. And then it didn't progress any further because 2 sessions after he died, I'll just start naming him. So I killed Jordan. Then further down the track, Rob and Arthur died in the same session. That was tough to see.
Same quest.
Yeah, it was the exact same quest, exact same night actually. They died. And I was like, oh crap. I kind of felt good about the fact that they died when they did. And there's heaps of reasons why. This is actually not because I had foresight on the situation. This is at the end. I'm very happy the fact they died because the characters they walked away with at the very end of the game were more
ones
impactful.
that went into.
Yeah, they were more impactful than their first ones. One of them wasn't really attached. Rob wasn't really attached to his character. Arthur was. He ended up telling me he was. And they died.
Ended up. He never let you live it down.
No, because I accepted
every encounter that would come up is like, if I was still playing my other character, I'd be doing this and this and this.
But when it comes to them, they died. But I was grateful for the fact that Jordan died. So that means I wasn't starting off with a new character and it's like, hey, you got to kind of join the group. Half the group is dead and half the group is not. So it's kind of, I can get them together. And I did. And I did it in a way that they would already start together. I don't know, flinging the goblin with the kraken. And
that was the best way to introduce a character.
Yep. And they were all washed up on a beach, waking up in front of Teferi.
Yep.
And that was to introduce Teferi more prominently into the game. And, and I was very worried. That's the one thing as a DM you get very worried about if someone's going to enjoy the new character they made. They have so much ideas for it, but they don't have the playtime with it.
Yeah. And
the moment they start to, it just becomes terrifying.
Yeah.
Because you just have no idea if you're going to enjoy it or not. And that happens a lot. So I believe character death is okay. But the one thing you just got to make sure you do as a DM is not go, I killed you, I will do it again. You don't do that. You be sympathetic. You just killed something they put plenty of time and effort into. And there's a difference between killing a player when they're not ready for it and retirement.
Yeah.
Retirement, they choose to retire. Death, you
forced it on them.
You forced it on them. They had no choice over that, and they're gonna get upset because they're no longer playing that character. When you get higher levels, it doesn't matter anymore.
Yeah.
If you have a cleric, it does not matter anymore.
Yeah.
If they have the money, the character's never going away.
Yeah.
But I think character death is necessary. I think people end up having to die. And not just for story progression. I think it's for just a whole lot of things. The games become stale. There's no stakes if players don't die. And if players were never meant to die, it just wouldn't be a rule in the game. There wouldn't be a whole section about it.
Yeah. My view on it is very much the same. I think character death is necessary. Not for all games, but it's necessary for building some kind of actual fear, like some level of fear in the players that they're not just invincible at any point the dice can go against you and you can lose your character.
Yeah.
Like, and I think it's fine. Like, it's fine to have characters die. It's fine to kill off characters. Obviously, you don't want to just be doing it every session.
Yeah.
But if a situation calls for it, I don't think you should kind of backpedal and fudge die rolls and do everything you can to make sure that character doesn't die.
Yeah.
I think it's necessary, and I think allowing characters to die, and especially ones that people are like,
So
invested in, it gives the game a realism that you can't get any other way. So,
yeah.
So yeah, I think we have very similar views on that then.
But I will add to his view, actually, because this is my view. There needs to be a nice balance between your combats. There needs to be sometimes something's going to be hard and sometimes something's going to be very easy. And sometimes there's the in between where it's like, that was a good fight, or that was a hard fight, or that was, what was that?
We stomped them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that happens as a DM. If they're destroying whatever enemies you've thrown, let it happen.
Yeah.
Let them destroy them.
Let your players absolutely body your boss monster in the first round.
And it's not,
let them do it.
Yeah, and it's not for the fact of, I'll get you next time. It's for the fact that, one, you 100% misread the situation of how strong they were. Two, it just means that the next bad guy, you can compare it to the first one and go, okay, is this going to be more of a challenge? And three, they're allowed to be strong. They're allowed to be better. What was it? I've always had an idea of a bad guy, that the bad guy was smart. But if you walked up to him, he had 4 HP and just... the king.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
In the last campaign, they were level 16, 17.
Something like that.
And they had to kill a king. And the thing was, they were all getting ready for this big fight. Little did they know, they actually got rid of the technical boss of the fight, which was like one of the people there. Wasn't exactly a guard, but he was a visitor who was in cahoots with the king, who was evil. Jacob, you actually put him to sleep.
Yeah.
With a spell. Eye bite?
Eye bite.
Yeah. You knocked him out. And
knocked him out.
He got taken away.
Brought back up, and I knocked him out again immediately. Yeah. And then, like, there's just something wrong with him, and took him out of the room.
So anyway, Kat actually killed him with a whip. She jumped off the wall, attacked him, and I think she did like 6 points, and then he just
died.
Yep. Straight dead.
Yep.
And everyone was like,
oh, that's it?
Yeah. Because he was just human. Yeah. Sometimes that can happen. Sometimes they can be very smart and have high intelligence, but just be human.
Yeah.
Like
there was
literally just be a PC.
Like what, 20-minute time frame in game that I was in the room, just me and him.
Yeah. You could have just 100%
murdered in there.
Yep.
And I was like, no, we've got to get everyone in so that we can get ready for this fight. We've got to try and move away as many other NPCs as possible so we can try and get this done as quickly as possible over like 2 or 3 rounds and then work on our escape. And
they were shocked.
Yeah. It was like, oh, that was it?
Yeah. Look, to be honest, also you didn't want to ruin Lambshank's reputation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. There was also that.
Yeah. So that's what happened. And that's fine. It's absolutely fine. You want that to happen because that means when you get to the big bad boss, the one that's beating the shit out of them, it has more stakes. It has more stakes because you're not always doing it. It doesn't become repetitive. Oh my God, this is 100% Dark Souls where I've got to keep fighting this boss and learning it and learning it and learning it. No, it's not how that works. It is that game where your big bad guys are big bad guys for a reason.
Yeah.
And if they outsmart them, or if they're just stronger than you expected, then they win and you just move on. You don't get sad about it.
No.
But if a character dies in a hard fight against a big bad guy, it is justified. If they die in a fight where it's by goblins and stuff like that, that was just, unfortunately, the rolls aren't on your side.
It's unfortunate circumstances, but it shows you that even these low-level enemies can be deadly.
And another thing I want to point out too, and this is how I separate Blake as friend and Blake as a DM. Every time I go into a fight, generally I'm not looking to kill my players. I'm just having just having fun with the dice roll, looking forward to the back and forth, explaining the action that's going on, and loving the music and stuff like that. I will say 100% my last games are better because I always would time the music. Now it's just not the same because we can't quite hear it. I got to figure that out. But when I was playing the big bad guy, I wasn't Blake the friend anymore. I was Blake the DM.
Yeah.
I am playing the big bad guy. This is the one circumstance where it is I am the DM and I'm going to kill you.
Yeah.
Because that's what it was. Every other fight was, let's do it. Let's get you some XP. Let's get you leveled up. And let's get your story moving. But played the bad guy. At the end of whatever you were doing, I was out to kill you.
Yeah.
100%. I was not taking anything. That's why I did kill that player. He was the big bad guy. Get pissed him off.
Yeah. Well, I didn't.
No.
I wasn't there.
He got pissed off. So he said, oh, you want to do this? Straight up kill him.
Yeah.
So that's
that's
justifiable.
I've been watching a lot of like old podcasts, like 5 years ago they were posted and all that kind of stuff. And the guy that I was watching made a really, really good point. And it's the bad guys want to win.
Yeah.
The bad guys in your game want to win.
Yeah.
There should be no reason why you should be taking that away from the villains of the story when you can then turn that into a reason why they're now getting, like, why they're starting to gloat and think that they're even more powerful than they are.
Oh.
And then that can lead to a point where your bad guy falls really easily because they got lucky on something.
Grazit turned it into a game.
Yes.
His game. He got pissed.
Oh, I did fuck his game.
he got pissed and then said, screw this. I'm going to kill you now.
Yeah.
If we cross paths, I will kill you.
Yeah.
And that's what it turned into. Arthur had to banish him to stop you guys from killing him.
Yep.
You had to send him away for 7 days so you wouldn't die then and there on that boat because you just weren't ready for it. And if Arthur didn't do that, they would have been dead. The story would have been over.
We probably would have died there, yeah.
Yeah. But you fucked with him.
Yeah.
You fucked with his game and he got mad. So that's also another thing as well. Yeah. Let him, exactly as you said, let him gloat. Let him be all that. And, if they start to see they're losing, then that's when they can full turn serious. Or maybe they gloated for too long and it makes them lose, as you said before.
Yeah.
So that's justifiable. Everything, you got to make sure everything is justified.
Yeah.
The biggest thing, because a player wants to hear the answer.
Absolutely.
Jordan did not like that answer.
No, he didn't.
No. So, yeah. So with Playtest, that's about it.
Yeah. Look, like I said, it's necessary. It's clean and simple.
I couldn't even read what he said at the end.
It's a question for both of us.
Question for both of us.
Yeah. We'd already answered it by the time it come through.
Yeah. So now, world building. I do something which is fantastic for me, and I build the terrain. I've just tomorrow on Tuesday, I'm pretty sure 6 p.m. you'll actually see my first upload of the building videos on how I build tiles and how they inspire me on games. When I build these things, I imagine everything that's going to be done with it. I imagine the dragon landing on top of this roof. I imagine that all this fighting is going to happen in this dungeon. The mad layouts I'm going to make with it. And I do crazy stuff to make sure the games look good. The last game we did, I made a full castle.
Oh, I remember the castle.
Yeah, the castle. Like I was like, yep, that's all going to be like towns and houses. But this whole area here going to be a castle. And I even made tiles that were stackable. So that way it could be another level that's in the game.
Yeah.
And then broken stairs that go up to it. And you have to like do a jump check and all that stuff. Like that's what I imagined. And
it was a literal like ruined castle.
Yeah. And the way I made it good and useful was the fact that I made sure every piece was reusable without it just being like a piece that I use it every now and then. That's it. I don't want that taking up the space. So I made sure that every piece that I used was actually interchangeable and I can do it with so much more.
Yeah.
So that's the advantage I have of world building and fight building as well, is that I actually make the terrain and I visualize it when I'm doing it. And I have so much creative freedom because I do that. And
I can attest to this. Every time he makes something new, he's like, all right, look, I made stairs.
Yeah.
But when you stack the stairs like this,
And then then you grab this attachment and you put it on top of the stairs, and it makes a bridge or like the topping of a castle. Like that's what I do, and it's fantastic.
it's good fun.
Yeah, and even when painting the miniatures as well, especially when you paint your big bad guy, you just want it to look.
I will say, with all of the terrain and all the minis that you have, I actually found that really, really hard to deal with. When I started up, just I knew what I was putting in the encounter, but because I don't own these minis, I don't go through them, and I don't know what each thing is and what each thing's meant to be.
It's like when you had Sturgis.
I just had no idea.
You had no idea I actually had Sturgis.
I literally just pulled out something random, went, cool, that'll do. There's enough of them that I can call them whatever it is. And it was so daunting trying to go through all of those boxes and find what I was using. It was ridiculous.
Yeah. I think the difference between you and I on that part, it's not only because I know all that. It's like how you can name a magic card and I know where it is.
Yeah.
Like that's just how my brain works.
Yeah.
It's like, it's crazy.
Yeah.
That how fast
but it's also that it's your set of things.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That's why I said like
I can do the same thing with my magic collection.
Yeah.
You ask me what deck is this card in? Oh yeah, go into
or even
the bag over there, into the
or
box
even
that
like
looks like
you have
this,
you
and
have
it's
like
in there.
17 piles of cards there, and you're like, I'm looking for this
in that
one, and
one.
you're like, oh, it's in this one.
Yeah.
Like I'm the same. Like I have so many boxes of cards, and it's just like, oh, where's this? Oh, it's this box.
I still routinely lose things though.
I do that.
Like a lot. I can tell you where just about anything is, but then when I go to build a deck with something in it, I know I've got that card.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's going to be in one of those two piles there. And I go through the two piles, it's not there. I'm like,
yeah. So
I go through my entire collection, still don't find it. 2 days later, I'll just find it looking to build something completely different.
Yeah. Well, ever since we started D&D, I've always been a crafting DM from the word go. My DM screen was made out of a Coke, like 24 pack of Coke that I cut up the box and I made into a DM screen because we didn't have one. So that was like the first thing I ever built. And that literally lived on for over a year. Even when I built a real one, my players wouldn't let me use it. So I had to like put that there and then put the real one behind it. And it was funny. But I built a drawing pad over it.
Yep.
The one where you can write a marker. I'll show you later if you haven't seen it. But it was very useful. I'm going to teach people how to do that too if you don't want to spend $60 on buying a battle mat. I'm going to teach you how to make a useful box tool that you can take wherever you go. Dry eraser works. It's fantastic and it's very useful. But yeah, I made those. And this is why it was never daunting to me, because I literally made it all.
Yeah.
Every miniature I generally bought, unless I bought the packs, which were were addicting at one point.
Yeah.
Because it was random and we all love opening packs.
But it's the same thing of when you open a pack and you see that you pulled that card, you now know that you own it.
Yeah.
Whereas I was going through your boxes and going, does he have Sturges? And I go through
but you didn't want to
4
ruin
boxes
it for me.
of... But I go, yeah, exactly. So I didn't want to ask, hey, do you have Sturges? Because then he's going to go, fuck, we're fighting Sturges.
Yeah.
So like, and I'm trying to keep it as a surprise. And I put these minis down and I'm like, cool, these aren't what they look like. I literally just tried to find something that looked small enough and like had enough of them that they worked. Mm-hmm. They're Sturges. She goes, oh fuck, I got Sturges. I'm like,
well, we're
using these.
we have the beautiful thing now where if we're missing something and we can't find it, we print it.
Yeah.
So another thing as well about stuff is I build my games around what I have.
Yes.
Because I know it.
Yes.
You don't. You build your games around what is nice and you just find a replacement.
And I just go through whatever tiles you've got and I go, cool, that's close enough. Let's use it.
Well, at least for my tiles, I made them as generic as possible.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, I didn't make them so specific that they can only be used in one setting. That was the whole point of them. They all meld together.
But I'm also not so versed on putting them together that I can go, okay, yeah, so I put these together like this and I use that bit and then I can make this other thing.
Yeah.
So I just kind of go, and I grab a couple pieces. I'm like, that's close enough. You're like, you could build a bridge like this. I'm like, no, I didn't.
But it's like, little, like, you probably don't even know this, but you could build like this whole big, you know, in Skyrim, right, where you walk through the doors after unlocking the claw thing, and then there's that big boss fight.
Yeah.
I've literally made those type of rooms with the shit I have.
I don't doubt it.
No, but I can, like, it's so, once you go and look at it, you go,
Of course.
huh,
That makes so much sense.
You can do that.
Yeah.
And that's because
And so
of
many
how
things
big
that he does put together on the table. And I go, yeah, right. That does actually just look exactly like that, doesn't it?
Yeah. Well, that was the point. The reason, there's only one major reason why I started doing this as well, because what we used to use battle mats.
Yes.
We used battle mats for a while. And then the first lockdown, I stopped using battle mats. In Australia, we had 2 lockdowns. They both sucked. One was okay because I got through a lot of building stuff and it was cool. I guess the other one was okay because then I started doing everything for this.
Yeah. And also built more.
No, I didn't
And
actually.
updated buildings and
Yeah, I kind of did. I did it in my spare time. I was more at Maddie's house than at mine before we moved here.
and we're running a couple of short games.
Yeah,
And
I was just doing a lot.
a lot of magic.
Eating a lot. Yeah, it was a lot.
A lot of magic.
So the reason why I started building is because of one person. It's not even me. The reason why I decided to get good. That's why I try my best to get good at everything I want to do. The reason why I decided to get good at building tiles, experimenting with so many foams. Like, you look online, no one makes anything out of styrofoam.
No.
And it is the most accessible foam to use. So I said, and yeah, it gets messy when you're building, but obviously use a vacuum cleaner, it gets up. It's like when you accidentally open up those bean bags that have a lot of the
goes
styrofoam
everywhere.
balls. Yeah. And like you literally have 2 next to you, and one's styrofoam and one's the XPA.
Yeah.
XPS or whatever it's called.
I don't know if you're able to see it, but
and the thing is, they're 2 different foams, but they achieve the exact same thing. You make them, one's obviously going to be the higher grade, and then the other one's going to be the lower grade, but they're gonna achieve the same stuff, the same effect.
like it's still a tile. It doesn't matter which one of those you're using. There you go. You've got a tile. Like it's.
And the reason why they're 2 different shades is because I used a black wash on one, and I haven't used a black wash on the other.
Yeah.
So, you know, they're both going to do the same thing. Where was I going with this? I lost my train of thought.
We do tangents way too much.
So, yeah, no one teaches anyone how to use styrofoam. And so that's what I started with. I started with styrofoam. I made styrofoam buildings, and I made those buildings out of the XPA. And I can make those styrofoam buildings a lot better than they are now because I have so much more practice. And that's what I want to hope teach. Yeah. The basic ones I made, everyone was still like, oh, that's cool. We actually have buildings
It was
now.
awesome when we saw them for the first time. And now when you go back and pull out the old ones and you put the new one down, we're like, what the fuck is that? You're like, oh, they're the old ones. Like, nah, the old ones look better than that.
So
it's just because they were new. They were new and they were what we had, and we're like, oh my god, like the game has never looked like this before.
Yeah, and then when
it was crazy.
Yeah, and then when I did the new stuff, it was like, oh, this looks like you actually just like bought this.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, thank you.
And then we picked it up and it was like, oh no, that's still foam. Okay, put that down.
So with the reason why I started building was because of Rob.
Yeah.
I wanted him to start getting into the combats more. I wanted him to be so enthusiastic and start actually going, what if I did this?
It wasn't because we kept laughing at your shaky lines?
No.
Oh, I just assumed that was where the kickoff point was.
I have shaky hands for everyone to know. So when I'm building that stuff, it is very difficult for me. So hopefully if I teach you how to build it, it's a lot easier for you.
Yeah. I 100% thought that it started because of the running joke of like, your boxes aren't really boxes, they're more like...
What was it?
No. I thought it was like spite. And you're like, yeah, you know what?
No, I started building the terrain. I think I started building the houses first before I even started building the tiles.
I think so. You did because we used to have them on the map.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so that way it just had a bit more 3D to it.
Yeah.
And Rob...
Because we had them on the map. There was the house there and you just kind of like colored in a tile. Like that's a tree. That's the well.
Yeah. It's like I've got tents and fireplaces now and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And Rob, obviously, he would get into the games very much still. But the moment I started putting the terrain down,
he wanted to explore the terrain.
It was so different. And then So when you have, obviously when you've drawn everything out, they go, oh, I want to get cover and stuff like that, but they don't do it that much. But when you physically have it there, man, they use it. And that's what you want. You want your games to be a lot better, a lot more interactive than iFlank.
Yeah.
And you want to do stuff like even when you were running like the combats where we had a battle royale and I was the ranger, I was like running on the like side of the bridge and I jump onto the next building because you gave me that opportunity to do that. So I did that. I saw it and I'm like, I'm going to try this. Yeah. And I did it. I did it successfully. I won that actually.
You did.
I won that whole thing because I was doing stuff that I was getting at such a ground where it's like, hey, guess what? I got a bow. Like, you know, and it was like when Jordan jumped into the water.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, cool. Shoot.
How do I find you in the water?
Yeah.
I guess I'll wait for you.
Yeah, just wait. So, but that was it. Adding terrain is so good for your games and it starts helping to world build everything.
It really does. And I don't know if we've done it on stream yet, but it allows us when we're asking whether or not we can see something or whether or not we've got cover from something. We've got laser pointers, and the method we literally use is we put the laser pointer on top of the character's head, shine it where we're trying to go, and see if it meets.
Yeah. And it's not just like in a straight line type thing. It is, we're going to move it, and if the laser pointer hits the character, you see it.
Yeah.
And that allows us to understand. And it
if
does
you're,
help
if you're
as well.
in that square, but you can't see it, and it's in part of the square that you'd be able to see, that's where you get like 3/4 cover, half cover.
And that
like,
simplifies game state. It's not the DM going no and stuff like that. It is 100%.
Yeah, I'll count that
taking
as
the hide action.
Yeah.
You know, but it's great because it just helps so much.
It does. It's so useful for so many things. People that tuned in on our fight that we nearly TPK'd, I literally looked him in the eye and went, I'm going there because I want to try and make a point for half cover. Yep. And he's like, you know what? Fuck you. And he ran around and he's like, now he's got a straight shot.
Exactly.
But like I was visualizing it like that because of the terrain and because you can see everything and you get a very good scale of height.
Yeah. I am testing something.
Oh, okay. What happened?
My hand. Hopefully it still works.
I've still got everything so far.
If anyone's listening, can you put Doritos in the chat if you can hear me? Just checking if it's gone down.
Wait, if what's gone down? Have we had to have technical difficulties again?
Oh, if you look over, you see how OBS
I can
is
see
no
that
longer there anymore.
Oh, okay.
So I don't know if it's like it's saying we're still live, but I want to know if like the audio quality is still coming out. Okay.
Yeah, true. That would have been an easier way, wouldn't it? I was going to send a message to chat.
No, we're still there.
Cool.
Okay. So, yeah. My OBS disappeared. So, apparently we're still live. So, we're going to keep going until, obviously, we can't no more. I don't know what happened. I'm not recording.
I don't know.
I stopped recording the episodes.
Oh, okay.
And I just download them straight away.
Yeah.
So, it just saves.
I mean, that makes it easier and we don't crash the computer.
Yeah.
And think that we're not recording anymore.
Also, when it's recording, it corrupts the file if this happens.
Oh, okay.
So anyway, so yeah, when it comes to using tiles and stuff like that, it just makes for a better game. It doesn't matter if the tiles are bad.
Yeah.
It is better than whatever they were using before.
Absolutely.
The funniest thing is, a lot of players go, oh, let's go play some D&D and stuff like that. You could, theoretically, get whatever you need to play the game. You could just theater of mind it. Cool. Some people enjoy that.
I did that with a group.
Some people enjoy that. I definitely can't get into that. I definitely want to view my fight. I definitely want to know the exact position I'm at. All that stuff.
Yeah.
You know, it's just some people. Some people can definitely theater of mind it. Or you can go down to a game shop.
Yep.
You can look at, they have 2-pack minis. You can look at them, find them, buy them. I think they're $10.
Something like that.
Yeah, so you get the player because more than likely you're gonna have $10, or if they don't, their friend will. They can spot them. Then you get that. Or as a DM, you can just feel the need to buy them. Most DMs just do that. So you buy players, right? Don't get into painting just yet. Doesn't matter. At least you know what the difference is.
Yeah.
All that stuff.
You've got different looking minis that you can represent a player with.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't even have to be the exact race and class that you're using. You can have the little wizard mini and be like, yeah, but I'm actually an orc barbarian.
Yeah, something just...
You got like this mini of like a dude with like the pointy hat, no staff. You're like, it's just
Miniatures
representation.
are so accessible these days.
Yeah.
It's not funny.
You could find that as a mini.
Yeah, exactly.
But you don't have to, which is the point. You can use what you've got.
So you get them, and then you can go down to your local $2 shop, buy some foam, buy some paint. Usually the paints are $2. The foam's about $2. You buy a set of paintbrushes, which every $2 shop just generally has. You get a pen. You have them at home. A ruler. You generally would have them at home. If you don't, then go buy one. They're like $1.
$1, yeah.
So what? We're up to $5.
Yep.
Maybe $7 because of the paintbrushes.
Yeah. Whatever the
And
phone
a
costs.
and a box cutter knife or a Stanley knife, because you find them. Preferably a Stanley knife because it does like
You get them.
extend.
They can come out longer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So a Stanley knife's always better. Or you can even use a kitchen knife, but be very careful with that. But you get those. You can watch my videos and you can paint those. And guess what? You already have a better looking game than some people do when they go out and they buy all this stuff.
Yeah.
Because you just went out and got the essentials you needed. And you built exactly what you have in your mind. When people buy Dwarven Forge, hell yeah, they look so good.
Yeah.
You can never deny it. All right. I'm someone who builds, and I will look at that and go, that game looks
That
sick.
looks sick.
Yeah. I have, for ages now, have had the option to 3D print my terrain. Always.
Still doesn't do it.
I don't do it. I might have to, because we're hitting a point where the material I currently use to match my other material is running low.
The good, like the real good looking one. So I don't know if you can see these, but you can see all of the styrofoam balls in this one. It still looks great, but you can see them. So the quality is so much different from this, which is completely flat except for where it's had texture added.
Yeah.
So
there is a massive difference between me making more terrain with the styrofoam than the other way.
And like these are interchangeable, but it then becomes a question of matching quality. And you look at it and you can tell that they're two completely different things and they're mismatched together. And it's never looks the same. Yeah, my video stopped.
Yeah, it's still going.
Yeah, we're still going.
Okay, so this is the Technical Difficulties podcast, as we've already explained it so many times because this happens a lot.
It does.
Thankful it happens on the podcast and not the games as often.
Yeah. We've had like camera difficulties on the games, but
never.
You've always been at least able to hear us.
Yeah.
Except for that time when we didn't turn the microphones on. Anyway. I said we. You didn't have to take blame for that.
It was on the whole stream. So, when it comes to and doing that's fine. When I go to print the tiles, I will start to go away from the actual building ones, and I will keep some because some are gonna look way better than printed. Always, I love my water,
especially
effects.
like the water and the grass tiles.
Yeah, I think lava looks really good as well. I need to make more of that. The great thing about that is that's all from scrap.
Yeah,
it's not actually. I don't have to cut new tiles to do that. It's all scrap tiles that make that.
Yeah. But like, obviously the stone tiles, you're going to be able to print stone to look nicer than cut out.
Always.
Because it's stone. It's meant to look flat and flush, and you can just print more detail into that than you could ever cut out of it.
Yeah. So when it comes to that,
I love those grass tiles though.
Thank you.
The grass tiles are fantastic.
You should see my new ones.
Oh, you did new ones. Okay.
I've got new material.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
So there's that. But yeah, and your games are going to look really good. Another reason why I started building was because when I started started doing it for Rob, everyone loves doing this to me. They start sending me a post of someone else's game, just a photo of their game that someone's decided to put online and say, step up your game, people.
Yeah, I remember doing this.
And I would just think to myself,
I can beat that.
I could. I really could. There is so much I just thought of that it's like your game table, right? How they have all the game tables and they look fancy and not. Ours is built for multi-use, not just D&D. The matting on that's built for card games and all this other stuff.
Yeah.
I built my table. Actually, my mother, I came up with the idea. My mother implemented everything.
Yeah.
But my table is completely built from scratch. I did not pay someone else to build it, to paint it, to do everything. We did it as a collective effort.
Yeah.
And the one thing I will say is I'm not going to do what everyone else does with the same crap I see everywhere. It gets to a point where you're going to watch someone start building these for a living and selling.
Yeah.
And I do not, like, a few of us are ex-French polishers and cabinet makers and all this stuff. And we will always we will build our tables, but we'll never just go, alrighty, and here's our layout. We got the cup holders inbuilt and stuff like. I don't want to do that. I even scrapped that from the new build because we're all getting bloody like tankards and stuff.
Yeah.
So like, why do we need cup holders?
Why do we need cup holders?
And it's gonna be a bigger table. It's gonna be literally a bigger table. It's fine.
There's gonna be place for you to put your cup.
Yeah, and then when people, because some people just hear like we play D&D before they even know what the games look like. And I love the way they do it because they come on and they go, hey, guess what? Like, step up your game. What do you think of this? It looks cool. I was like, man, you haven't even seen what our games look like. They already look really good.
Yeah.
And yeah, so that's also another thing that comes with preference. For instance, let's put in perspective Critical Role. So I think I said this last time. I don't really watch it much. I do sometimes like see what they do and then I go on and I kind of view it. I don't watch it because I don't want to get what they call the Mercer effect, where you try and copy what he does.
Yeah.
And you try and copy his game. I don't want that. I want everything. And because mine's all free from the head, I don't want to accidentally take something that he's done.
Yeah.
So, but you do see what their games look like.
Yeah.
And it's cool. I think it's cool, Dwarven Forge stuff, but there's a massive difference that everyone needs to realize. And it's not because of how people do the Mercer effect, because the Mercer effect is more than likely just like placebo, right? They go, oh, their games are cool, so I want to be cool. And that's not what your players want. And I'm pretty sure he's come out and said, don't try and copy what
Don't try and copy it because your game needs to be your own.
And they're all voice actors.
Yeah.
They're all professional actors.
Yeah.
That's why their games seem so involving. The fact I get so much out of you guys is insane because you're not actors.
Yes.
So when it comes to their games and the way their combat looks, one thing I got to point out to people, their games look like that because do you see how much money they put into
the kind of production value that they have?
They have the money to put into it.
And also the fact that this is their third season.
Yeah.
If you go back and look at their first season, if you go back and look at their first season, they started out like everyone else.
Yeah.
It was literally just webcams and, a very basic layout, and it's been worked at.
Yeah, people are comparing, like, we've gotten a little bit of comparison to, like, we're not even at their first season yet. I think people are saying, like, we're at the later, the later point of their first seasons.
Yeah.
Near the like past the hundreds.
Yeah. But it literally took us a stupid amount of time to start doing this because we kept trying to perfect what we had. Value. We kept trying to go, no, we'll wait for the new table. No, we'll wait until we've got our knowledge of all the systems down pat. We'll wait for this, we'll wait for that. And it kept pushing it back and back and back and back and back. But now looking at what we've produced and put on the web, like it's insane where we've started.
Yeah. We didn't just start how a lot of people do, where it's either online on Roll20.
Yeah.
Or it's
and we
at
very
their
well
kitchen
could
table.
have. We 100% could have started the stream back in lockdown when we were just each using our own webcam. Like Blake made a whole layout where it would show everyone that was playing. It had himself, it had the battlefield. You'd never even know that we weren't in the same room, apart from the fact that we've all got different walls behind us.
Not just that too, you also wouldn't know that I wasn't using Roll20 because one, I just didn't want to learn it.
Yeah.
Because I didn't want to because a lot of people, when they actually play Roll20 and they learn it, they get used to it.
Yes.
So I'm just going to double check that the volume's still on. Yeah, sweet.
Yeah, we're still going.
It's still going. But yeah, they get used to it, and then they just never want to play real life.
You never want to divert away from
real life.
You know.
D&D's
It's so much better.
So yeah, we could have started this ages ago, but and for everyone who wants to know, I have been the pure investor in this.
Yes.
People do offer. I say no, because I am the pure investor. I understand when I can afford something, when I can't. I think that's what everyone forgets as well. And like I have purely invested in this. And then the way they helped me invest in it was helping with the cameras. That helped so much, and it got it moving faster. And like we were down a microphone. Oh, now there's a microphone chilling there.
Yeah.
And we had so many things that we just needed to keep going and going and going with. And this developed because instead of going, we're gonna wait, the moment I said not waiting anymore, the development moved so fast.
We went, and we did still perfect so much stuff because once we put a date on it, it wasn't when we get to it, it was
the date got moved 4 times.
It did, but that wasn't because this is our deadline, and we had to like run headfirst into all the problems that we were finding.
It was because of people had holidays planned because COVID.
Yeah.
We got out of lockdown, and it was about time people actually got to have their holidays. That's why it moved.
But like it still gave us a deadline. Yeah, and so we were doing test sessions where we just kind of put the cameras on and played like a battle royale and, you know, whatever. And we just had it on in the background so we could go, oh, okay, so you can't actually hear anything because all the microphones are picking everyone up at the same time.
Yeah.
And so the voice production value was absolutely terrible. And so we just tweaked that so you just hear it.
I think another thing is too that people have to remember is that when they go, oh, Blake's echoing. Yeah, of course I'm going to echo. I'm not a sound engineer.
Yeah.
I am doing all this by myself.
Yeah.
I have to manage everything I'm doing. I work a full-time job. That's the beauty part now. I work a full-time job instead of a permanent part-time, which was shift work, which I worked like 5 to 6 days a week. That my roster was all over the place. I'd be working day, night, wherever. But now I work at scheduled time, which is fantastic. It's freed up my life and allowed us to do this a lot better. I actually launched the day that I started the new job because I knew that it was going to be a change in life. But yeah, I'm not going to be able to do that. I need time. Like right now, Jacob and I have 2 microphones together, probably a little bit closer than the actual other mics.
Yeah.
And the thing is, we don't echo off each other. I found a way, but the thing is, I don't know if I can get the music playing in the background for all for all you guys to hear.
But that's why it's a work in progress, and we're trying new things every episode.
Yeah.
And we go back and we watch the episode that we've just made and go, okay, so this didn't work.
Yeah, when you guys actually
try this next time.
When you guys put it in chat, it's actually fantastic for us.
It is. And the fact that you're saying, oh, you're echoing, we like to see it, but we're not going to fix it right there and then. Because if we fix it there and then, we're stalling the game's progress.
Not until I get someone to sit behind the stream and actually do it, because I'm controlling everything at the DM screen and running a game.
That's it. So if we were to fix it the moment it happened, obviously there was the first episode of Wednesday group and the microphones hadn't been turned on. When that was brought up and when he realized, he went, oh, okay, hold on, and hit the button to unmute the microphones. And so like that's something we can do midstream because something was muted.
Yeah,
you just hit the sound button again and it turns back on.
Yeah.
That's all well and good, but if it's someone's echoing or if it's the camera's gone out, we're not going to get up, stop the game, walk over, figure out why it's done it, fix it, then come back to the table.
Yeah, let's just.
We'd rather end the stream there or end the session and in post figure out what happened. Why did it do that? And we can make the next episode better with the knowledge that we've taken from the last video.
It's like, and that's how it's always going to be. And another reminder too is that I have produced all this on a waiter's wage.
Yes.
And that's not, I don't get penalty rates and I didn't get all that stuff. I did this on minimum wage. If I could do this, if you desperately want to do this stuff, you can. You just need to put the effort in.
It's the effort and it's the drive.
Yeah. I think literally almost everything on that table I built. I built the DM screen. We built the table. I built all the terrain. Printed the characters. Even built my dice box. Like so much. Of that is just built. And then soon the new table gets built after I buy a new car. That's outside of the podcasting to talk about.
Yes.
Okay, so we again diverted off the major topic.
Oh, we always will.
We will.
With this new format we've got, there's no staying on.
That's the point. That's the point. So again, back to the point, because I won the heads and I'm going to keep bringing it up. So starting world building. Pro tip. I'm going to say pro tip because I ran a whole 2-year campaign from level 1 to 20, from start to finish, in a world that I made.
1 to 17. 17?
18.
18. 1 to 18.
18.
I'm gonna take that away from you. We'll go 1 to 20 one day, and then you can say it.
So 1 to 18. Start to finish. So what I did was I just focused on the here and now of what they were doing.
Yeah.
Because that is the main thing. If you start the world building, you completely do the whole world and they don't use a part, guess what? You used precious time that you could have done developing something else. So that's my tip to you, Jacob.
Yeah.
Focus on the immediate starter island. Make sure it's big enough to have plenty of things to do, but not too big where it becomes overwhelming.
Yeah.
Don't worry about anything else going outside the world.
Yeah.
And also just know that you planted everything on that island. So everything they want to do and anything they go around, they will always just run into something that you've have there.
Yeah.
And sometimes just make shit up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just make it up.
I don't know. I still think I'm gonna end up being a planner. I'm gonna have the whole world. Like when I do an open world, finally, I'm gonna have the whole world planted. So when you go there, I know what's there. 100% that I think it's gonna be the way it ends up being. I think it's gonna work better.
Well, that's the point, right?
But obviously without leaving room for improvisation.
Yeah.
The improv will come from when you do something totally unexpected.
That's always. There should always be improv in the game.
Yeah.
But the whole point of the starter island thing I was saying, focus on the here and now, is because once they leave there, it's already established.
Yeah.
If they ever go back, you have all that information that you know what it is. You can even update it and go, oh, since you left, this has happened.
Yeah.
That's how it is. That's what I did. That's what I did with Volin and all that stuff. It's like when you left and Dave got married.
Yeah. Yeah.
He was getting married.
It was something as simple as that as well, but it changed the dynamic of the place.
Yeah. He was getting married to his boyfriend.
Yeah.
And everyone was like, hell yeah. And
then everyone died.
Party. Not everyone. He lived. He had one arm, but he lived. And then I gave you the most busted weapon.
Yeah.
The most balanced, but busted.
It was kind of busted.
Yeah. But it was balanced.
We didn't abuse it.
You could have.
That's why it wasn't. That's why it seemed.
No, I think it's because the way I had it balanced was it was attunement. You couldn't pass it over.
Yeah.
I ended up
we
adding
could
that.
pass it over, but no one did.
But the moment that I added attunement, it became not busted.
Yeah.
Because it was a hit or miss.
Yeah,
if
absolutely.
you waited too long.
If you wait too long, you lose everything.
Yeah.
All of these weapons, by the way, we do plan on writing a book.
I think what that needs to be is not a podcast. I think that needs to be an announcement.
Probably.
Announcement.
Well, now that we're talking about weapons and giving no context,
yeah,
all of this stuff will become available. But
for free. But
absolutely. It will become
anything
available.
we do, anything we write. No, I'm not going to say this because this is what Screw Ever Wizards goes. Anything we say is free.
Will be free.
Will be free.
Yeah.
And we won't charge for it.
Yeah.
And we do plan on releasing content for free a lot. And if we do start a Patreon, it will be like that whole, you either get early or you get select things where you need advice and all this stuff. There is one thing I'm going to be very excited for, and this is planning in the future, because this is something we get asked a lot on our podcast. And this is the Discord that we spoke about a while ago.
Yes.
That will be an announcement on itself as well. And there'll be a whole thing for it, and it should be great. Like, that's the point. And that will be good.
But big plans for the future.
Moving ahead. Like, if people don't know this, our YouTube channel uploads 7 days a week.
Yes.
At the moment, it hasn't been fully 7 days a week, but it's because I've been getting used to the editing sides, and also we just got a new editor. So his work will actually go up on Tuesday. So if you want to see his edited video, it will actually be launched
which
at
will be
12 p.m.
the next episode of the Upkeep.
Which is with you and I, funny enough.
Yes.
Yeah. And so the Upkeep is just a interview session that we do after the episodes where everything's fresh in the mind. And you see, it's like, did you know Jordan went back and watched Arthur's one? And he's like, I didn't know Arthur was mad. That was only like a 20-second decision, and that made him mad. And I'm like, oh, man, you heard his reasoning, right?
Yeah.
But that's what it is. This is what it meant to be. You get the full experience of one of the players, and they're like, screw this dude. What happened here? You get that whole when Cat's with the party, you get that whole whoever's there, he's like, this.
Oh yeah, I would be if we're like talking about the first campaign, right?
Yeah.
Oh, if we were doing this at that point, I would have fought people to be on that Upkeep. Yeah. I would have fought people for that.
I'm the one doing it tonight because I have
shit to say that she's gonna say later.
That's the point. Alrighty, and then we will announce it here on this broken part of the podcast because you can still hear it. Just imagine this as like one you're listening to on Spotify. Now, with just a still photo of Jacob and I with me in one hand.
And yet we still keep talking into the camera.
Yeah, I know. It's just
I just noticed that because I kept looking.
Long now.
Yeah, but I kept looking down. I'm like, oh right, that's right. The camera has frozen.
Well,
I don't know why we're not just chatting to each other now.
Well,
we keep looking at the camera.
Yeah, well, this is the longest running series.
It is.
Yeah, we've been doing this for ages. I can't even I think we're like probably over 20 episodes now. It's just, we've been doing this for ages. This was the first thing we launched. Yeah. And so another piece of content we'll be adding is for Jacob, actually.
Yes.
Still don't know what it's called.
Don't know what it's called, but I have a real problem with deep diving into whatever game I'm playing and building way too much around it. So
holy shit, you do. I just realized it.
It's ridiculous. So every other week, just chatting to Blake in our normal lives, and I'll be like, okay, so I come up with another idea for a character.
Or I came up with a new Magic the Gathering deck.
Oh, I have 4 decks built that I've never played. Like,
well, it's a bad time that we went on a bit of a hiatus.
Straight up, have just never done it. And I'm still building decks. We're on a hiatus, and I've just bought, I don't know, like 50 cards.
Yeah, I think.
Like, something ridiculous. I deep dive into things way too quickly. So the series that I'm going to start is going to be my builds, and it's going to be building things with a challenge, essentially.
Yeah, and it's going to be. I love the format that we just came up with just before we actually went live with this episode, which was a
like a Wheel of Fortune.
Yeah, he writes every single combination of classes that could exist, including them by themselves.
Yep, and I'm gonna spin the wheel, and I'm gonna build it in front of the computer.
Yep, level by level until level 20.
Yep,
and there will be certain rules to it. And it's like you can't, if you land on, again, let's say you hit Barbarian Sorcerer.
Yep,
you can build one. And then the next time you land on Barbarian Sorcerer, you can't use either of those subclasses. So now you
just to make it harder for myself.
Yeah. So you can't go. It can't be a whole default. This subclass is really good. It's like, nope. You're gonna have to pick the bad ones now.
Yeah. So and once I've cycled through, that's when I can start again.
And also you've got to make it as cool as it can be and as useful as it can be.
Yes.
It's nuts. I think there'll be like a Wooburg style well.
Just one where I have to go into every single class.
Yeah.
Oof. That's disgusting. How many classes are there
I
in
think
D&D?
there's 10, so I think you can take 2
Oh, that's
levels of D&D.
gross. That's 2 levels and everything. Ugh.
Yeah. And also, to make things harder,
Oh, I hate it.
we're going to do the bog standard 27 point buy.
Yes.
So
Always
that
27 point buy. I feel like it's so much easier when trying to
a
multi-class because you can ensure that you've actually got the stats that
Also
you
in
need.
just building a class ahead of time, because that way for people who have DMs who roll, they can't
Yes.
without a DM there. So
Yeah. And I don't want to be having to set up a computer to roll in front of and then go, oh, well, now I don't actually even meet the requirements for it because I just rolled dog shit and I've got, 4 stats below below a 10.
yeah.
I'm like, oh, great. Well, below 13. They're always 13.
But yeah, so that's a new
So
thing.
27 point buy.
That will upload.
It'll be fun.
Alrighty. Well, I think this is good enough to call it here, don't you think?
Probably. I don't think anyone's been able to see us for about a half an hour.
No, probably not.
So
Alrighty, guys. Well, welcome to the to Technical Difficulties podcast, where we managed to fuck up my own name and also
the entire podcast, other than the audio. I think we're still running audio. I hope we're still running audio. We're still running audio.
Good. Alrighty. So, guys, we'll catch you next Monday at 8:30 p.m. Australian Eastern Time. Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah. GMT plus 10.
Thank you, because I don't pay attention to that. I should.
Yeah, I don't know why I know that.
Yeah, I should pay attention to this stuff.
GMT plus 10. That's Sydney time.
Yeah. And if you guys want to catch our D&D games, we run them at 8:30 on Wednesdays and Fridays. 2 different groups. So
2 different groups, 4 different players in each group. No one bounces between.
No.
As much as I try to convince him to let me.
Nope. And if you want to find any of our other content, you just find us on YouTube. This is pretty much where the person will be like, smash that like and subscribe button,
But we're not doing that just yet because this one's over Twitch.
Yeah, not only that,
Right.
too. I would much rather you just do that of your own free will.
Yeah,
Until I get all bubbly and then I do it.
absolutely. And until we get really big on YouTube, and then we're going to start. So make that happen.
Yeah, we got high hopes, don't we?
Oh, so high hopes.
Alrighty, guys. Thank you for watching us. I would love to raid someone, but unfortunately my OBS is not live. So I can't even properly end this episode with my stream deck. So I'm going to now have an awkward silence of me walking over the computer.
Yes. Yeah, thank you for joining in. Thanks to everyone that stayed around even after we lost all of the feeds. We will just be ending the stream this time. There's a first time for everything. And we love you all.